Good morning, and thank you, Chair and committee members. My name is Austin Gilbert. I'm a campaign field operative and consultant, and I've run numerous campaigns over the last decade in the Central Valley and High Sierras in California. I've dealt with elections offices and officials during counting procedures, ballot curing operations, and recounts across 13 different counties, and I've been a resident of Fresno County my entire life. California elections can be described in one word: slow. Over the last decade, California has prioritized voter access over efficiency, effectiveness, and safety, inundating elections officials with time-consuming verification and sorting processes, security flaws, and a reliance on mail for voting. With the passage of the Voters' Choice Act in 2016, California changed from traditional in-person voting to the new method of vote centers, drop boxes, and mail-in voting. This process was designed to be slow from the beginning. To start, state law mandates that any election official accept and count ballots postmarked on or before Election Day and received within 7 days of the election. This immediately slows results from being disclosed to the public, as elections offices don't even receive an accurate count of the total votes cast until most of the nation has finished counting. The centralization of this election process, from precincts to vote centers and the elections office, has also complicated the ballot sorting process. Specifically within Fresno County, we typically deal with upwards of 300 to 500 different ballot types, that being any ballot with different contests included on it. While in years past, you would vote at a precinct of your neighbors, and there were a very limited numbers of unique ballot types, now vote centers are required to provide every single unique ballot, as any voter can vote at any vote center. You can imagine it's a lot easier to sort 2 to 3 different ballot types in one location than between 500 and one centralized vote center. California also has an extremely arduous signature verification process, one that relies heavily on human interaction and the interpretation of handwriting. While most states verify identity before voters receive a ballot, California sends ballots out to every voter and verifies the signature after the fact. This process of signature verification usually works in 3 steps. Ballots are received in the elections office and scanned for a signature. The signature is compared to the voter's signature on file, and the ballot is either accepted and opened or denied. At this point of denial, a ballot cure form will then be sent to the voter so they have a chance to correct their missing or non-matching signature. While in theory this sounds simple, in practice it becomes the most complicated process in administering an election. In the days following an election, you can often see thousands of ballots in one room at different stages of the verification process. This includes ballots that have yet to be verified, ballots that are waiting on cure forms, ballots that have been accepted and are being separated from the envelope, provisional ballots awaiting verification, and conditional voter registration forms. All of this before elections officials can even flatten, sort, and count to provide results to the public. There are also multiple deliveries of ballot types to the elections office on election night. This comes from ballot boxes across the county, vote centers, and United States Postal Service. All of these added steps and processes revolve around the signature verification process, which is largely done by temporary workers and election employees inside of a single county warehouse. It's important to compare this to the original process, where voters would sign next to their name in a precinct, it would be verified, and that voter crossed off the list from their specific precinct, and then a ballot would be issued. Now, rather than just sorting ballots, the elections office is single-handedly tasked with the entirety of verification, sorting, and counting. California also does not maintain clean voter rolls. In many counties across the state, voters are tasked with updating their own elections office on changes to their registration, including if a relative dies or no longer lives in the state. In many instances, households would receive ballots for members of their family that were recently deceased or no longer live there. While that is a massive security concern, it also adds to the extremely high cost of administering elections. In virtually every elections office, you can ask to see their undeliverable ballots, which usually surpass the thousands. These ballots are ones that USPS couldn't verify an address for or were returned to the elections office for any number of reasons. With the price of paper, printing, and postage, you can imagine this amounts to a massive cost. Complicated verification processes, ballots still being received up to a week after election night, the ability of voters to cure ballots 28 days after an election, and messy voter rolls have led to one of the slowest and most costly election processes in the nation. The prioritization of voter access has led to a lack of speed, security, and a diminishing trust in California elections over the last decade. Thank you.